Greetings, friends, family, so on. My name is Iyapomwende Ngina, also known as Cassandra Faye Floyd, also known as the Rogue Black Girl. I'm doing this quick live, and I'll be looking kind of distracted because I'm trying to broadcast live um, from two different locations. So I want to go ahead and do this live because I have launched a workshop that starts this weekend, Saturday, January 8th, and will continue every Saturday until February 19th. This workshop is entitled America's Pluto Returns, Apocalypse or New Dawn Rising. That's what it's called. Now, for people who've been close to me, friends in particular, this is something that has been important to me for some time, like at least 3 years. Um, and as things are getting closer and more intense over this past 2 years, with not only COVID, but all of the, kind of extreme um, occurrences that have been happening, all as these typically foreboding events. The thing that struck me and continues to strike me is that the people who should be paying the most attention to quote America's Pluto Returns, the people who should be paying the most attention are clueless, are not paying attention at all. It is not a conversation that is happening among us at all. And, for some time, my reluctancy to do anything live or even on video about the Pluto returns is because I didn't want to seem like, the end of the world lunatic on the street corner with a street sign saying the end is nigh. You understand? And I get it. I did not become interested in astrology because of my upbringing. I think that's the situation for a lot of us. Astrology is something that, especially if you had a Christian Catholic upbringing, was not only frowned upon, but, was equated to witchcraft and would cause your soul to burn in hell. So, astrology as something that was embedded in our cultural upbringing, it wasn't. And so it took a long time for me to even become interested. The only reason I became interested in astrology is because I have been a political activist for the majority of my adult life. And when I started to see astrologers talking about the energy potential of these astrological and astronomical occurrences, and historically, what major events, coincided with those astrological and astronomical movements in heaven. That is what struck a chord, right? That is when my kind of like antennas went up. And it really kind of started a couple of years ago when I started hearing a lot about this big stellium that was going to happen. The stellium. Um, that's all anybody who run in astrological circles was talking about. This stellium occurred on January 12th of 2020. You don't need to know the ins and outs of astrology. That's not what I'm going to be talking about. That's not what You don't have to know anything about astrology to understand what and why this is important to you. One, I prefaced the fact that I am a political activist. I have been a political activist for most of my adult life, right? And and not just a political activist. I was an African internationalist. I was a hardcore atheist, revolutionary scientist, if you will. So this shit didn't mean nothing to me, right? Astrology, sun, moon, and stars in heaven, like none of that, right? And so a few years ago, many years ago now, 10 years ago now, I became a devotee of Ifa. spiritual tradition of African people. And so, that hardcore, rigid, revolutionary thing kind of softened, it softened the edges a little bit. I was a little more open to understanding that which I had given no time to, no space to. So I'm trying to get to a point. When they started talking about the stellium, of course, the majority, I was paying attention to a few Black astrologers, but the majority of people that were talking about the stellium were white people. They were European, like actually in Europe, Britain in particular, but they were white people around the world that were talking about the stellium and the energy potential of the stellium. Get ready, because this shit about to be a wild ride. Now, this is January 12th, 2020. Okay. The stellium happened. Okay. And 2 months later, we were on lockdown and we were in masks. Okay. Now, for the lay person who doesn't know a damn thing about what a stellium is, or about, Pluto and Saturn and Capricorn, it sounds like Greek, pun intended. Fine. Does not matter. Now, for me, what was interesting was every single solitary astrologer I was listening to was talking about the last time that this arrangement in heaven occurred was the year that Martin Luther, the monk, kicked open the doors of the German Catholic Church, staged his, what was it, the 49 or the 42, thesis on the wall of the German Catholic Church, and kicked off the Protestant Reformation of the church. This was huge. It permanently transformed the face of the institution. Okay. And everybody was talking about this is huge. We are alive in a time where we can actually have an impact. Thank you, sis, the 97 Theses. We can actually have an impact on what happens next. This is the energy. This is the power potential. Everybody's talking about Martin Luther. There would not be such thing as the Protestant church, no Methodist, no what you call them, no Presbyterians. None of that mess would exist without this pivotal moment in human history where Martin Luther said, this is where we have to diverge from the Catholic Church and create our own stuff. Right now, everybody was bigging this up. All the astrologers I was watching too was like, this is momentous, this is amazing, whatever. Okay. And I was like, well, damn, I couldn't find no other, not even the Black astrologers. I could not find a single person that said, okay, well, if it was this pivotal and this energy of these planets coming together for the first time in 500 years is so pivotal, what was happening with other folks that was indicative of the same energy or the same power? What was happening in Africa? What was happening in Asia? What was happening in the Western Hemisphere at this time that gives us some indication of the permanent impact that this particular alignment was was creating? And baby, I know right now I have invested thousands of hours of study because it's that fucking important. Okay? And I still call myself, quote, a novice in astrology because I don't know how to read no chart. I still don't know what the little symbols mean. You understand what I'm saying? But I know enough to listen to the people who are paying attention to the charts and the alignments, and what they're saying were the significant historical events that coincided with these movements. That's all I was interested in. Still, all I'm interested in. Okay? So everybody's talking about Martin Luther. Baby, the same year. Nobody mentioned it. The same year, the last time that stellium occurred was the year that the Pope gave permission to kick off the transatlantic slave route. That was the last time that stellium that kicked off this pandemic that we're in. That was the last time that it happened. And no, not one astrologer saw fit to mention the permanent impact that it had on not only Black people, but native people in the Western Hemisphere. That our lives and the lives of the generations after that were permanently changed, transformed within the spectrum of this planetary alignment happening. Okay? So now I done dug my heels in. Now, because the mythology around astrology, like the astrological symbols, the names of the planets, mirroring Roman gods, right? All of that stuff. Yeah, okay. You learn a little bit about about Roman mythology and Greek mythology in high school, and that's the perspective that we see astrology in, is Greco-Roman, mythology. But me being involved, a devotee of Ifa for now 10 years, I was like, well, what do our ancestors have to say about these planets and these planetary alignments and their potential impact on our lives? And so I was living as an artist in resident in Oyotunji African village. And at the time, one of the chiefs of the village, Shango Bumi, gave me a Yoruba deck of cards on what the Yoruba say about the planets. Okay, I'm going to show you. This is, let's see if I can find the cover here. I can't find the cover, but this is the deck, if you can see it. Okay, like I said, I'm broadcasting from two different places, right? So this is the deck that shows you what Africans, the Yoruba, have to say about these planets. Capricorn, or Saturn, right, is Babuluaye, right? You got the Gemini and Mercury, which is the Ibeji. Oh no. Somebody said I'm frozen. Am I still frozen? Man. Well, I'm going to keep going, just in case I unfreeze. I don't know what that's about. Right? So you've got okay, cool. So let's see. I'm reading backwards. Uranus and Aquarius. That is Shango, right? And so I won't go through the whole deck, but this deck I received from Oyotunji African Village on what the Yoruba had to say about the planets. Now, mind you, I'm still on this whole thing that all these white astrologers have been talking about in terms of the significance of that stellium that we are still feeling the impact from, that occurred on January 12th, 2020, 2 months before we went on lockdown for this pandemic. Okay. And in that particular alignment that had not happened since the very beginning of the slave trade and Martin Luther kicked in the door of the German Catholic Church, was here we go. Yes, them two. Okay. Now, Pluto and Saturn coming conjunct in Capricorn to the layperson doesn't mean nothing. A thing, 0%. It don't mean nothing, right? But if we learned the astrology, what our ancestors, and I'm talking about anybody and any indigenous people's ancestors, had to say about these observations that they had been making, what happened after January 12th, 2020 would have resonated completely different. Let me explain. When Saturn and Pluto came conjunct in Saturn's house, which is in Saturn's sign, which is Capricorn, right? From a Yoruba perspective, you are looking at Oya and Babuluaye. Oya and Babuluaye came conjunct in Babuluaye's sign on January 12th, 2020. Right? Now, to know that has a whole different implication. Why? because Babuluwaye is the bringer of plague, the smallpox, pestilence. Babuluwaye is the husband of Mother Earth. Babuluwaye punishes humanity when it mistreats his wife, Mother Earth, with plague and the smallpox. Okay? That's Babuluwaye. That's Capricorn. That's Saturn. Babuluwaye is the disciplinarian. Saturn, as an archetype in Greco-Roman mythology, is about you think about Capricorn. Capricorn is an earth sign. It is about weighty material reality. It is about hard, like think about a tree digging its roots into the ground and not budging. It is about institutions that we see are permanent, fixed, unflinching, unchanging, top-down leadership, oppression, right? That's the energy of Capricorn and Saturn meeting Pluto in its own sign for the first time in 500 plus years, okay? Then you think about, oh yeah, baby, this was the game changer. Oya is the mother of radical transformation, destructive transformation. Her nickname means she who eats the trees from the top. Think about a tornado ripping dead, unsecured trees out the ground, right? But the other thing about this stellium that happened on January 12, 2020, if we are well versed in the culture and the mythology of our own traditions, it can give us some insight. Oya is not only the mother of radical transformation, she is the mother of masks. She is the mother of masks, right? She is a shapeshifter. She is the only one of the 401 Orisha that has one foot in the terrestrial realm and 1 foot in the ancestral realm. She is the reason that we are able to continue to have a relationship with our ancestors. She is the reason that when we die, we are assisted into the ancestral realm. She is the one that facilitates us coming back into the realm. You understand? She is the owner and keeper of masks. Listen. So Pluto, Oya, and Saturn in Capricorn, Babuluwaye, 2 months before not only the plague that sits us on our ass and parks us for a while, not only the plague, but the response to the plague was the masks that we are continuing, that we're still in. The mask, the physical personification of Oya's time. Y'all ain't hearing me. Y'all are not hearing me. I am doing this presentation right now that I want to keep short to explain to you why I am doing a 6-week workshop on America's first Pluto returns. Pluto, as a planet, moved into Capricorn in 2008. Now, Tima Atzi, I know you on the call right now. You just posted something on your stories today about 2008, Bitcoin in 2008. I just saw that today, which is what prompted this, by the way. So I'm sitting here looking at this thing that you just did, and about Capricorn, and about how our currency, we have put so much stock, for lack of a better word, into the certainty and the permanency of the way we see money, wealth, value, and currency, that Bitcoin changed the game in 2008, the same year that Pluto entered Capricorn. And since Pluto entered Capricorn in 2008, what have we experienced? Those things that we thought could never happen. One, we saw a Negro president. Everybody was like, oh my God, this is the beginning. It was a split. The white folks was like, Lord, this is the beginning of the end. This is a sign of the time. Jesus gonna come back any day. You feel me? And then black folks was like, I didn't think I was gonna see this in my lifetime. The extremes in the polarization of the society, not just here in the United States, globally, that had an impact. Globally, America experiencing its first black president had an impact. I didn't vote for the Negro either time. Just so you know, just so that's out there, I didn't vote for him either time. That's not a digression. It's important to mention that. That same year was the peak of the housing crisis, right? The subprime mortgage scandal, right? So on and on, we have been experiencing the epitome. Okay, guess what? So not only did that happen, what else happened in this period since Oya entered the scene, since Oya entered Capricorn? What else happened significant? What we had been talking about for decades, what people have been talking about for decades, was what we thought was going to be the end of the world. Everybody kept saying, oh Lord, December 21st, 2012, the end of the world coming. The Mayans say the end of the world is coming. You're talking about magnanimous, the great American eclipse that happened in the August of 2017 was the first time that it happened since the year the United States was founded. That happened. You understand, right? So you've got these archetypes that would have helped us to understand what was coming. And it came 2 months later, right on the money. Okay. Now, that we're still feeling the impact of that conjunction of Saturn and Pluto meeting in Capricorn, because Pluto entered the scene entered Capricorn in 2008 as a foreboding. She's like, look, strap y'all seatbelts in because this shit about to be wild. I come on the scene to wreak havoc. The havoc is a blessing, so don't get caught up. Do not get caught up in internalizing the end for your enemy as your end. Do not get caught up in the narrative about the end of the world or none of that shit, because their crisis is not your crisis. Their crisis is your prayers answered. Their crisis is your ancestors' prayers answered. So you be clear about what it is you're looking at. Not only be clear, you be clear about what your role is. You have a role. We have a role, right? Listen, everybody keeps saying, how is it that we are alive in a time where we're seeing all of these once in a lifetime things happening in the heavens? What does it mean? But because we, people of color, colonized people, oppressed people, have been kept away from the knowledge of our ancestors. Oh my God, guess what? That's what else Pluto does. That's what else Oya does, as she shines the light bright on that which has been hidden. She is the ultimate remover of the veil. Maybe she want all that shit on blast, because you can't get justice without the crimes being exposed, without the history being known, without that which has been kept in the dark being blazed the fuck open. That's who she is. That's what her energy is, right? And so here we are. We've been kept from the traditions of our ancestors, kept from the traditions, kept from the culture, the religions, the beliefs of our ancestors. Hell, even kept from basic ass astrology, because our opposition uses all of this information to maintain hegemony over our lives, you see. And so now the cat is out of the bag, right? Everybody is going back to the traditions of the ancestors. Everybody is calling themselves a black sheep of the family. Everybody is challenging the old, challenging the norm, not even just spiritually, not even just historically. If you look with a positive eye about what has come from these last 2 years, yes, I know it has been painful. Yes, I know that it has been shocking. Yes, I know that people have lost many. I really recognize that. And it is not to minimalize the impact it's had on our individual and collective lives. But if we can take just a moment to analyze the good that we need to extract from the last 2 years. One, Mother Earth say, look, you understand? Y'all fucking up. And I'm going to need the whole goddamn planet to take a collective seat the fuck down for about 3-4 months so I can get this shit to cracking. And y'all didn't believe it until all the articles started coming in. Articles from all over the planet, all over the world, about how the animals was coming out to play because the people were gone. You understand what I'm saying? How people could, like, how the waterways of Italy were clear for the first time in decades, and you could see little pink dolphins swimming through the canals and shit, right? In 3 months. They were talking about how people in the Himalayas were saying, man, this is the first time we've seen the actual mountain, the top of the mountain in 30 years. In 3 months, there was a 17% reduction in emissions in California in 3 months. We don't have to save the goddamn planet. We have to move the fuck out the way, is what we have to do. You see, that does not mean that we have to be irresponsible. We still have to do what we have to do, right? Recycle, reduce our using of shit that we know we ain't got no business using. But Mother Earth say, I got this if y'all just move out the way. Okay? So that happened, right? People were uncomfortable with having to station at home, right? That first few months was a real crisis for people. They were scared on the one hand, right? They didn't know what it was we were really dealing with. And then the idea of having to actually be in the same space with your family for a significant period of time, as opposed to the 1 hour when y'all getting dressed in the morning and a couple of hours that y'all eat dinner together when y'all come home in the evening, to actually have to sit and look in the face of the people that you care most about and know them and learn them, probably for the first time. You understand? Some of you ain't never looked at your shadows. Ain't never. And you stay perpetually distracted to avoid your shadows. Honey, Pluto, y'all is the mother of your shadows. Baby, she like, look, you can't make shit change until you face your own shit. The deep, dark, dank, ugly of it all. It's not to make you feel bad. It's not. It is to help empower you, embolden you. Oya is a benevolent deity. She really does want what's best for us. She really does. Let me tell you something. I've been kicking ass in my tradition for some time because I'm a daughter of Oya. And I always got an attitude about how flimsily motherfuckers be worshiping Oya. My homegirl online, and she cracking up because she know, like, it pisses me off. But we always be like, you know, pussyfooting around that shit that scares us most. And Oya, if you ain't acting right, her response should invoke fear. But if you are on the right side, man, if you're on the right side of history, if you're on the right side of the question, if you're on the right side of women, what you scared of? Motherfuckers who be scared, but the motherfuckers who be scared of Oya are the motherfuckers who know they got dirt that they ain't dealt with. That's all. That's all. We go all the way the hell out when it comes to admonishing the other Orisha, right? We do. And let me just tell you something. Even though I am talking about my perspective, I am talking from the perspective of being an African woman, right, who practices an African cultural, spiritual tradition. But I'm telling you, this applies to all of us, all people of color, all people who have been the victims of America, all people whose currently and their ancestors have suffered at the hands of the birth of this bitch. So men, let me tell you about this mother here. And the energy is all the way across the board. So it don't matter if you're talking about Pluto, because if you look at Pluto, the deity, Hades, it's the same energy. Exactly the same. You understand? It don't matter if you are Maya, Azteca, you understand what I'm saying? Mexica, Native. If you get into the tradition, if you get into astrology from the perspective of your ancestors, to learn the mythology and what the story that they were trying to tell about these very scientific movements in heaven and the potential impact that they can have on our lives, you'll see that the message is the same. baby. You cannot oppress women. You cannot, and expect that life is going to be good. You cannot oppress women and expect that life is going to be good. You can't. You understand? That's a big message. So here we are. Now I'm gonna fast forward because this again is me telling you why, as people of color, as marginalized people, as oppressed people, as poor people, as people who really want to be good allies to those folks, why we all have to be paying attention to what is happening on 2022, February 20th, 2022, which is in 6 weeks. And why is it that you do not know nothing about it, ain't having no conversations about it? You understand? But everybody on the damn planet has got their eyes on America right now because of it. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours I have spent reading articles, spent watching videos. There are at least right now 30 astrologers I follow regularly, meaning I watch they shit about 4 times a week, even as I got bills to pay and a job to go to, because it's that important. I follow them. I take notes. I hear what they have to say. I am reading articles. I'm reading the Bible, God damn it. Because the Bible got something to say about what's happening too. You understand? I'm reading articles about everybody else's past Pluto returns and what happened to their nations within 2 to 4 years of each Pluto returns. Whole governments, ancient freaking Alexander the Greats, and and all of these dudes, Napoleons, and all of these dudes planning entire war campaigns based on some feedback they got from their astrologers. You understand? Understanding that this was going to give them the power up they needed to seize victory for themselves, you see. So here we are living in an America that we think is a Christian nation, right? Meanwhile, we cannot understand why, even though we didn't have all these radical revolts and rebellions and revolutions in this country, nothing has really shifted radically in the favor of the oppressed. Yeah, we win a victory here, we win a victory there, we get a little bit here, we get a little bit there. But looking at the state of things today, and I'm talking about scientifically, not how you feel good about being able, to have white friends or go to white schools or whatever. No, like scientifically, mathematically, economically, are we better? And what does better mean? And what does it look like? Right? We ain't had no radical shifts in any direction, in a direction that favors us. Right? And so, but we know, somebody was just telling me the other day about I forget exactly what they said, but they were like, yeah, this woman was Ronald Reagan's chief astrologer. Now y'all think the white boy is a Christian, the epitome of good Christian values and shit. He had a quote chief astrologer, but y'all think I'm the crazy dude on the street corner holding the sign saying the end is nigh. You see, we have to be open to hear what this period is trying to teach us. I am telling you, I'm just trying to tell you that this event, Pluto returning in 6 weeks. And the thing is when Pluto starts her return on February 20th, 2022, baby, y'all better listen. I hope y'all got y'all helmet on. I hope y'all got y'all safety pads on, y'all knee pads and shit, because the transition is going to take 2 years. The transition is going to take 2 years. She will not fully transition into the next sign till 2024. And in the meantime, and I'm giving y'all some shit I'm supposed to be teaching in a workshop this weekend, but I'm trying to invigorate and express the significance of the vital importance of us knowing what this event means, knowing, internalizing that every single one of us has a role to play in it, or we will doom our descendants to live this shit another 248 years. That is as simple as it gets. This period that we are in is history transforming shit. It is a history transforming, a history consolidating event. And we have the opportunity to incarnate at the peak of it. We do. It is a blessing that we're looking at. That's why the title of the workshop is America's Pluto Returns, Apocalypse, or New Age Dawning. We can set the terms for what this period produces. We can. If we believe what we say, any of us in any kind of spiritual tradition, any of us that calls ourselves a witch, a healer, a magician, whatever your bag is, whatever your brand is, whatever a world changer, a revolutionary, a political activist, or whatever the fuck you call yourself on any given day, if you believe what the fuck you say, this is it. This is the time. This is the time. This is the moment. This is it. We can't listen. This is it. This is that period. You know how they talk about, oh my God, you know how they talk about this might be a little bit more scientific, whatever, but there's this concept of qualitative change and quantitative change, right? And qualitative change and quantitative change is like this. This is the example that I always use because it's very easy to understand, right? All of the elements are in play to produce a result, even if you can't see that the elements are there, even if there's no indications that the elements are at work. All of the elements are in perfect place to produce a specific result. So what does that mean? You got an egg, you got a pot, you got some water, you got some fire, right? Them the elements. And you know that it is inevitable that the egg will become hard, right? If you have those four elements. You got the egg, the water, the pot, and the fire. You put the egg on the fire, right? And you wait. Now, you can't see nothing happening. Doesn't mean that nothing's happening, right? The water, the molecules are moving faster. You can't see it, but you know it's happening because you took 5th grade science, right? Magic is working even if you cannot see it. But you are an element in this factor. Why? Because you had the foresight to need a boiled egg to eat, right? You had the basic information handed to you that helps to inform you how you gonna get the egg to boil. You feel me? Right? You are the one that got your ass up out the bed and put the elements together, ensuring that you will have a boiled egg to consume, you see, right? The egg wasn't going to boil itself. The water was not going to pour itself in the pot. The fire was not going to ignite itself. You are the thing that has never been given in that scenario, has never been given the proper power for the execution of the inevitable, which is the boiled egg, okay? But when you're talking about qualitative versus quantitative change, the qualitative change is having all the elements in play that you need to ensure the appropriate response and outcome, right? You need all of them elements to work together in order to produce the boiled egg. Now, the elements are at work. The elements are combined. They working even though you can't see shit happen. And then Oya appears because she is the space in between all things. She is that moment between the exhale and the inhale. She is the spark that ignites the moment that the sperm penetrates the egg. She is the space between all things. She is there at the moment that you go from living to deceased. She is there. Okay? So in the boiled egg, guess what happens? Water still, water still, water still. And then there is a moment where the water goes from still to boiling. That is the transformation from qualitative to quantitative change. I hope you feel where I'm going, because we are in that space in between. We are sitting on top of it right now. God damn it. That space between the end of the age of oppression and the birth of the new age. We are it. We are in it. We are in it. And everything that we do will impact it. Everything, baby. Everything. Every word you speak is going to have an impact on someone, whether you know what the impact is or not. Every action you take in the world. I just had this conversation with my daughter today. Why not do the right thing? It's easy. Why not be kind? It's easy. And what it does is it ensures to the reproduction of more of that. It does. That's why I go and volunteer. That's why I do things for other with no expectation of nothing in return. Just because it's the right thing to do, and it's my responsibility to make sure that my presence on the planet has the best impact as opposed to the worst. That's all. It's easy, right? And so every word, every kindness that we speak, and we know that it's happening, we've been experiencing it. Things have been happening to us, all of us. I hear stories every day. People have been saying, man, I cannot believe that happened. I can't believe I had this vision. I can't believe I met this person seemingly out of nowhere. These connections are firing much more rapidly. Let me tell you something. You know how you see the little bubbles in the bottom of the pot, but the water still ain't boiling yet? That's it, right? All of a sudden, that shit that you couldn't see before is becoming foreground. It was background noise before. Now it's foreground. People in suits and ties and shit going to see an astrologer now, when that shit was unheard of a half a second ago. You know what I'm saying? People, it's like, think about when people talk about like the global consciousness, you understand what I'm saying? We all one, you understand what I'm saying? What does that mean in the real world? What does it mean? Right? If we all one, what does it mean? And so I had this thought the other day about like what happens when we learn information, right? Every time so you learn something, a new synapse in your brain forms, a connection is formed, right? Concretizing, locking in that thing that you've learned. It becomes a memory, right? Well, think of this global community as what happens here. Every person you touch, every person you walk by, every person you roll your eyes at or smile at, every word you speak, everything you say, everything you do becomes part of this global synaptic activity that is going to determine where the fuck we end up. Right? So listen, the qualitative change, right? We're in this space between the qualitative change, all of the elements, and the quantitative change, seeing what this period is going to produce. And we have a role to play. And when I say we, I mean every one of us. There is no one's insignificant in this period, even if they don't know their significance right now. They don't. They might be homeless. They might be hurt. They might be traumatized. They might have all kind of baggage. There is no single body on earth that is insignificant in this period right now. We who claim to be world changers, revolutionaries, evolutionaries, visionaries, healers, we have more of a responsibility to the masses than anyone. We cannot be out here accepting and reproducing the despair imposed on us. We can't. Baby, I read my cards the other night. What did that card say? That card said, where's that shit at? Oh, here it is right here. I did my cards the other night. Baby, Spirit was, listen, riding me like a jockey. Spirit said, look, you can acknowledge if you want to all the bad in the world, right? All the despair, all the bad, all the this and the that. But that is not what the world needs from you, Iapo. You can dang. What did it say? Oh man. Y'all, I got grandbabies. I always oh, here it is. Okay. I'm always having to search for my stuff. Let's see. This reading was so prolific. It was so profound. Let's see. The trickster, this. This reading was it was it. Okay, here it is. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Okay. This card is called the Apprentice of Arrows. I read from the Medicine Woman deck. I love it. Okay. This card said the subtitle of this card is called Brave Herald of New Thought. The first thing the card says is, I speak in words that affirm the positive. I write in words that speak the truth, knowing the truth is the underlying goodness within creation, and anything less than wondrous is a lie. Y'all ain't heard. Anything less than wondrous is false. I dismiss all thoughts of I can't. I throw off whatever limits my good and the good of those around me. I see beauty and I speak to beauty. I see love and I speak to love. Where I cannot see these things, I supply them. You ain't heard. Bravely I go forth and change the words that cause harm and grief and hunger. I change the laws. That's all, yeah, baby. Shh. I change the laws. I change the limits. I recreate a better place to play. I am a messenger bringing new thoughts that are seeds of freedom. With these words, you give me, Great Spirit and Divine Mother, the young shall be liberated, the world transformed. Your words, listen, your words live forever in the hearts and minds of 7 generations. Speak in a way that their minds can develop images of better ways. Encourage the expression of one's higher self in all beings. Right? Point the way by your life and actions. You will return to this life in a world that you have given your children. You ain't heard. You will return to this world, to life in this world that you have given your children. Teach that all can be transformed. The young have come here to correct the errors of your generation. Give them the skills to do so. They are hope. Give them the faith in themselves. Inspire courage in them. Share the wisdom that has helped you on your path. Point the way. Encourage harmonious action in them and among them. There is a child somewhere awaiting the knowledge that you hold. Now, and then the other part of it, let's see. Woo, child. The other, I won't go too far into it, but the other thing was, when you teach or when you speak and speak in the positive, only speak in the affirmative. Only speak of a future worth fighting for. Only speak of a future worth working for. We know what's wrong. We don't have to keep reiterating what's wrong, because every time we reiterate it, we recreate it. You ain't heard me. Every time we reiterate what is wrong, we recreate it. You ain't hearing me. We know what has happened. We know the past. Now allow the history to inform how we will change the world. That is all. I will never again hold a lecture, a workshop, a presentation. I will never teach again about what is wrong. We all know, even if we have a third grade understanding of the world, we know that something is wrong. That is not what the world needs of those of us who say we know better. We do not need more lectures in despair, not like lack mentality. We do not need any more workshops on how fucked up the school system is, or the medical system is, or the government is, or any. We don't need it. There's plenty enough of it out in the world without those of us who call ourselves the game changers reiterating it. Let somebody else do that. Those of us who believe that we can actually have an impact on the future, those of us who actually believe that we hold magic in the palms of our hands, God damn it, what are we using the magic for? What are we creating when we speak? What are we creating when we speak? You understand? I will not participate. I'm sorry. I know it's radical for me because I'm Miss Radical. You feel me? I get it. But I did that. 22 years I've been in the movement. You feel me? I get that. I know. I'm well versed in all the statistics about all the ways we fucked up. Now what? Now what? With the information that my ancestors have imparted on me, that spirit has knocked me over the skull with, you understand? The insight that I have that I could never make sense of. Being able to see things that nobody else could see. Being able to make connections that nobody else could make. People saying, damn, your brain is crazy, Iapo, you are insane. And I'm like, damn, maybe I am insane. You know what I'm saying? No. Spirit said, you have a responsibility that is peculiar to you. Just like the next person has a responsibility that is peculiar to them. That's why their gifts look like they do. That's why your gifts look like they do. Now, what the fuck are you going to do? Are you going to reproduce the old? Or are you going to speak in the affirmative? Are you going to speak of a world worth fighting for, worth living in, worth creating? And that alone, that's it. Let somebody else do the lectures on the history and whatever. But if we believe what we say about all of this stuff we've been learning, the law of attraction and like attracts like, and and all of this stuff, right? Speaking your reality into existence. We are the conscious creators of that which is around us. Either we believe that we have the power of God or we don't. Now, that's the question you need to ask yourself. Either we believe, even if you say, okay, well, God lives in me. Okay, if you believe that, then it means housed within your flesh is the creative ability and power of God itself. So if you believe that, really believe it. What are you going to do with it? And see, let me tell you, a lot of us, and it's important. I'm not trying to make light of it or reduce its significance. A lot of us have been doing this, quote, self-healing work, right? To resolve our trauma, right? Or whatever. And so we meditate, and we got power affirmations, and we got rituals that we do, and full moon rituals, and new moon rituals. And we're very deliberate. I ain't front. You see my little chakra shrine I just built up here in the background? You know what I'm saying? I got my what you call it? My vision board up on the joint, you understand? So I'm with it. Now what is required of us is collective work. Right? Bible say where two or more meet in my name, there I am. And every society, every religion has some version of that story. We're powerful on our own, but when we come together, our power is multiplied. That's basic science. You feel what I'm saying? So I want to tell you something. Words matter. Okay? They matter. That's why they've been used against us for so long. Words matter. And so I hear about retreats. Retreats are the big thing right now. I have been for some time, but right now they on blast, right? Everybody got a retreat for something. The majority of the retreat stuff that you're hearing about is what? Heal trauma. We all out here fucking traumatized. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the catchphrase of the motherfucking decade, of the last 2 decades, is healing trauma, resolving trauma, healing ancestral trauma. You understand? But your ancestors gave you more than trauma, boo. Your ancestors gave you power. Your ancestors gave you secrets. Your ancestors gave you your dreams. That's where they come from. You understand? Your ancestors gave you your dreams. Your ancestors gave you ammunition. Your ancestors gave you tools. Your ancestors gave you weapons. Your ancestors gave you love for which you could not exist without it. Somebody had to be in love for you to exist. Somebody, even if it was for a moment, even if it was for a one night stand, there was love in that moment. I love this body. I love this booty, whatever. Love had to exist, at least in some scenarios. You understand? For you to exist overwhelmingly. You feel me? And so your ancestors gave you more than trauma. Now, where your trauma is concerned, because we all got it, right? We all have it. What do you choose? Do you choose to carry your trauma? Because let me tell you, honey, y'all ain't having it. Pluto is not having it. Pluto is not having it. I'm trying to tell you. Pluto's not having it. Oya is not having it. You acknowledge, you extract from your trauma the lesson that you need to learn, and you bury let me use another word, and you burn that shit. Because let me tell you why I say this. Because our labels, we're going to have to get real comfortable in the next 2 years, baby. Because Oya demands that we get comfortable with the idea that everything we think we are is about to change. Everything we think we know is about to change. We have to be open to the radical, new, uncomfortable. We have to, right? Because what have we grown comfortable with? We've grown comfortable with our oppression. We have. As long as we can be comfortable in our oppression, you know what I'm saying? Go to a job we hate and make a little money to pay some bills. You understand? Like, as long as we can be comfortable in our oppression, we'll stew in this shit. And y'all ain't having it. She said, all this shit about to go, baby. Everything you thought you knew that was permanent, that shit is about to go. The educational system has already been rocked to its core by this pandemic. The sports industry has radically changed as a consequence of the pandemic. The government has changed. Money has changed. Politics have changed because of this pandemic. She said, all that shit y'all thought was permanent and steady and ongoing, I showed you in the blink of an eye that none of this shit is permanent. All of this shit is unsteady as hell. Now, how you gonna take advantage of it? How you gonna take advantage of the fallibility of this bitch? Are you gonna help refortify it, or are you going to go ahead and issue its death blow? What you gonna do? Which side are you going to take? Are you going to preserve it, rescue it, or are you going to say, oh, that bitch is weak, let's slay it? Shh. Knowing that it can only be good on the other side. It can only be good, right? And so, anyway, I'm just trying to tell you that it's such an exciting time. And so that's why I say, speak in the affirmative, speak in the positive. You know, what did Bob Marley say? We are confident in the victory of good over evil. Let that be your mantra. God damn it. We are confident in the imminent victory of good over evil. That's all. That's all. Listen, the workshop is going to be different. This is me just trying to tell you, really express to you the importance of taking advantage of this workshop. Please believe that my life is so busy and so chaotic with 2 toddler grandchildren and shit. You know, for me to be investing the kind of time and energy and wormhole study till 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning, multiple nights a week, it is important. And it is so important for those of us who have been the victims of America. It is so important to understand our pivotal and central role in what is about to happen. We cannot be on the sidelines. We cannot. We can't. And speaking in the affirmative, knowing that, listen, Mama Pluto, Oya has just literally handed us a big old silver, cosmic size silver platter. She's like, just hang on tight. And that which ain't got no business going into the next period will be shook the fuck off. And then you'll reign supreme. Peace will reign supreme. Sovereignty, freedom, independence, certainty, happiness will reign supreme. And we can have that. We've grown so accustomed to the world being dismal and despairing, and you got to work hard and you got to struggle. And that ain't the shit we going into. I'm trying to tell you. This shit is going to be radical. And the next 2 years is going to be a wild ride. Like, the imagery is like it's fitting because Oya's animal is the water buffalo, right? But you know how you have that the bucking bronco in the clubs, and you have to try to hold on, right? That's what's coming. Because while Pluto is trying to make this transition, she's going to be literally back and forth. She'll be in Capricorn. She'll be in Capricorn come February 20th, 2022. Then she'll shift a little bit into Aquarius for a couple of months. Then she'll go back to Capricorn for a few months. Then she'll go back into Aquarius for a few months. Then she'll go back into Capricorn for a few months, where she makes her final transition fully into Aquarius. And then that impact will last. That will be the immediate impact, will last for 15 years. The long-term impact of this transition will be 248 fucking years. 248 years. Now is the period for us to power the fuck up. You know how these Christians be having these goddamn stadium-sized congregations on, bringing the good news or whatever? Nigga, we need stadium-sized conferences of all those people who say they got power to make this shit pop. Where can we find a stadium that we can rent where all the witches, all the healers, all the activists, I'm talking about everybody, all the activists, all the game changers and whatever they game changing is, you understand? Whether it's grounds work, they building villages, or whether they, helping people learn how to get money. Everybody that has been doing work in the interest of the group, we need everybody, 10,000 motherfuckers in a stadium somewhere in the United States, bringing the good news of Mama Oya coming on the scene as our military strategist to help usher us into the new age. That's what we need. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, of course. We can call it whatever, but that's what we need. We ain't staged no contest. We all out here in our little 10 members in this organization and 20 members in this organization, and you know what I'm saying, doing our little stuff, and the little stuff is great. But honey, we need to pull a power play right now. And the power play has to be affirmative and exciting and promising and visionary, and sexy and have flair, you know what I'm saying, and have goddamn DJs, playing like visionary goddamn house music or some shit. I don't know, but I know this. All this despairing and woeing that we've been doing, we cannot contend that way. We cannot. And we cannot contend the way our oppressor has been oppressing us. That ain't gonna work neither. We done did that. We can look over the last 200 years of successful rebellions and revolutionary struggles, and we have not won. We haven't. A lot of those places that have won their imminent victories, we were just shouting out the wonderful victory of the Haitian people just a couple of days ago. But look at the conditions of our people in goddamn Haiti right now. Look, after being the only slave population to win its liberation against a giant, and it's been abandoned by the world and suffering more than it ever has been. So we cannot use the old to create the new, boo. We cannot. We can't. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And that's what I'm telling you, as we have everything that we need to kick this shit off, baby. We have everything among all the people that we know. We have everything that we need to assist Pluto in her reign in this period. We do. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. And that is just a small fraction of what I'm going to be talking about. This Saturday is the first workshop. I will be doing 2-hour workshops every Saturday until Pluto returns. So for the next 6 weeks, every Saturday, and included in these workshops is the background, the history, which you need to know, understanding why Pluto moving into this period, America experiencing its first Pluto's return, why it's significant, and why the whole world is watching and we don't know nothing about it. You understand? Also will be included is culturally specific culturally specific understanding of this particular astrological occurrence and what it has meant historically. Because I'm gonna fuck you up when I start talking about the Bible, because the Bible does talk about this event, by the way. The Bible, your King James Version, New International Version of the Bible talks about this event in the book. Okay, right? So get ready to be gut punched. Get ready to have your jaw kind of, right? Your mind blown, all of that. So I'll be talking about that. I will also be teaching you how to prepare for this momentous event. Yes, I will be teaching you how to prepare for this event, how to be preparing where you are, how to be preparing for this event spiritually, economically, politically, how to be preparing for what is to come. Okay? So that is all I'm going to say about that. So on Facebook, just look on my homepage, because I have posted on my homepage the link to the invite for this event, which will be starting this Saturday and will be every Saturday until the 19th of February. And so check it out. Even if you can't do all of the workshops, do one. It'll inform you enough that you can still have something to work with. You feel me? So that's that. It's important. If I'm telling you, it's so important for Black people, for colonized people, Mexicans, red people, yellow people, even white people. It is so important. And what happens here, what happens over the next 2 years in this country is going to have a ripple effect unending on the entire planet. Okay? And everybody is looking to the listen, everybody on earth, baby, even white people, white astrologers, white theorists, everybody on earth is looking primarily to the indigenous population of America and the Black population of America to see what they gonna do in this momentous occasion, because America could not have been born without them. That's the Pluto returns. Where were you? What was America doing when it was born and Pluto was right there? Enslaving Africans and brutalizing Indians. And this is the point that we have come full circle to. You don't even know how many white people I've heard talk about, well, America gonna have it rough if they don't pay reparations. White astrologers, white astrologers, several saying, a good start would be to pay reparations to Native people and to Black folks. That's a good start. If they don't want their Pluto return to be crazy, that would be a good start. So I'm just telling you, this is the most magnanimous, I would dare say, anybody that is conscious, is a conscious adult in this period, I'm telling you, this is what you incarnated for. This is it. This moment, I'm telling you right now, from my mouth to God's ears, I am convinced it's why we incarnated at this moment and this time, to be conscious, thinking, active adults at this moment in history. That's how much I believe this shit. And it might be just me. It might be that I am the crazy guy on the corner with the sign saying the end is not, and I'll be the only one out here, black, brown, or red, or yellow, doing anything to acknowledge the significance of this Pluto return. But I'm really trying to win with you all. We have play. We have pull. We have power. And it is our responsibility to execute it right now. Right now. Block out the noise. Block out the bullshit. We have to use what we have, what we've been gifted, all of our gifts, all of our inheritances, are for this moment. It was to prime us. It was to make sure that we are well prepared to execute in the period. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. So if you're a musician, you need to be on this damn workshop. If you're an artist, a visual art, you need to be in the workshop. If you are a dancer, you need to be in the workshop. Any gift you think you have, and that gift you think was just to make you money, I'm telling you, it's not. Yes, let it make you money. As far as I'm concerned, let it make you get rich. But I'm telling you, your gifts are your inheritances because your ancestors saw the writing on the wall and it was like, look, we need to make sure that this baby get the best of what we have to offer genetically, historically, artistically. We need to make sure this motherfucker right here got all the skills and tools she needs to make this shit pop when the time comes. This is the time. So I meant for this to be about 5 minutes long, but whatever. Hopefully it did the trick. Hopefully I will see some of you. And Sister Zaya Mo, I hope I'm not pronouncing that wrong. Just go onto my homepage. Once again, go onto my homepage. I'll repost it again right after this. Go onto my homepage and just scroll down a couple of instances and you'll see America's Pluto Return, Apocalypse or New Age Dawning. That's the title of the workshop. It'll happen every Saturday afternoon until February 19th, the day before Pluto transitions into Capricorn. And I'm telling you, it will not be a waste of your time or your resources. I swear it. I swear it. And tell as many people as you can. Okay. So I'm going to close out because now I have to come back on a live. For those of you who have been paying attention or not, no, I'm in Los Angeles, California. But those of you who have been paying attention or not, simultaneously preparing for this Pluto Returns, I am rereading. I started Saturday rereading The Great Cosmic Mother, which is timely. There's a reason that I'm reading this book right this minute, and it's still in line with what I'm talking about. The Great Cosmic Mother, Rediscovering the Religion of the Earth. This book is the game changer of the age. I have read at least 1,200 books, and this book, I'm telling you, more than any so far. It's the one. It's the one. So every night at some time, I haven't decided when, because I got grandkids and shit be spontaneous around these parts. But every day, except Sunday, I will be reading from this book on YouTube. I did it in 2020 on Facebook and could not retrieve any of my recordings because Facebook is so janky sometimes. So I decided to go ahead and read it live again on YouTube. I will be reading this book every single day for 1 hour, except on Sundays until it is finished. At the same time, and that's just a straight read through. The first time I did it, I added a lot of commentary, which was necessary, but the commentary made the reading last a lot longer. So I'm just going to do a straight read through. And then I have initiated the Great Cosmic Mother Facebook group that is initiating a political education series. We just had the first one yesterday. I developed prompt questions about what it is you need to be extracting from each chapter read that we go through, opening the floor for discussion and Q&A. So it's real interactive. That I am doing every first and third Sunday. The Facebook book club, if you will. Every first and third Saturday, we'll be discussing. I will be leading a workshop on The Great Cosmic Mother. So I got to get ready for that. I'm about to read that just for those that might be interested in listening. And that's all I have to say about that. All right. So hopefully something that I said resonated with you, something was impactful or helpful. And thank you all for tuning in. I love you all back. Those that have stuck with me, and I know I get a little ranty, but I'm telling you, this is, big shit. So anyway, I will end. My name is Cassandra Faye Floyd. I started using my birth name, and that's a whole nother story I will have to tell you about as well. Oh, my YouTube, for those that are asking, is, child, let me see, because I have a couple. I think you can just put Iyapo Ngina, IYAPONGINA, into the search engine in YouTube to bring up. This is all new to me. I did my first YouTube live Saturday, so I'm still like working out technical kinks or whatever. But anyway, so Iyapo Ngina on YouTube, and Iyapo Ngina on all of my other social media sites, Twitter, actually on Instagram, it's Moyende Creations, MOYENDE Creations with a K. And so again, my name is Cassandra, also known as Iyapo Ngina, also known as the Rogue Black Girl. I will be coming right back on to read the Great Cosmic Mothers chapters for tonight. And, hopefully I'll hear from you guys about attending this workshop this Saturday. In the meantime, I'll probably have another rant for you tomorrow. Anyway, all power to the people.